Yeah, okay. What is going on, my plus SPC here, and welcome to today's live stream video. I don't know what you want to call it, but me.
Hi guys, we're here to do a top 10 horror movie list.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I told you I was gonna be loud.
Yeah, you aren't lying. So yeah, guys, me and Ethan are here. I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately, and Ethan even bought me a. Well, he didn't buy me this shirt for my birthday.
Originally, it was a Freddy Krueger shirt with his claws, and it said "Follow your dreams." The best part is I got him a medium instead of an extra.
Hey,
You got a 2X.
You guys know I ain't no medium.
But you know, if I got you a 2X, you'd be like, "When's it gonna be a 2X?"
Yeah, I won't deny that.
So damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly. So I swapped him out for Michael Myers because you guys know I love Michael Myers.
So happy belated birthday, buddy! I'm glad I got you that Michael Myers shirt.
Yeah, thanks.
Asshole.
Better than the one you gave me a year ago.
Which one was that?
The Stormtrooper.
Oh yeah.
So guys, the way this is gonna work, me and Ethan, we're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna start from number 10 to
10 being the least favorite, 1 being the favorite.
either way, these are our top favorites. So I mean, hey, Ethan, since you're the guest, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay.
Just so you know, too, like talk about the movie.
Yeah, no, I
I
know.
know that. So
All right. So, counting off, number 10, Signs, starring Mel Gibson. This movie came out, well, shit, how old were we? 2002. I would have been 10. You would have been 9. And I remember watching this one. It was pretty atmospheric, if you want to say so, because, of course, you know, Independence Day kind of freaked me out, but Independence Day isn't really meant to be a horror. It's more of a thriller. But Signs, even though it was only PG-13, it still gave the impression that you have this family, Mel Gibson, then there's his brother. I forget the actor's name. You remember?
it's Joaquin Phoenix is all I can
Joaquin
remember
Phoenix?
from that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I don't remember the brother's name. I don't know what his name is, but yeah, it's Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, okay. Anyway, and then they have the two kids, the boy and the girl. And what I really liked about it is it's a farmhouse out in the middle of the nowhere, in the middle of a wheat field. And of course they start getting crop circles, and they think, you know, they start to get detect that there's alien life among them. And the whole scene is just creepy. Like the part where Mel Gibson goes into the not a wheat field, the cornfield, excuse me, goes into the cornfield by himself. And you remember that part where he flashes his light and he sees an alien's leg go in the corn stalk. That freaked me the fuck out, because it just, I think growing up in North Dakota, when you have grandparents that have a farm, it kind of hits you more close to home a little bit.
I've never seen Signs.
Oh, well, I keep looking at you like you do.
I don't
Like you
like
look at
it.
well, anyway, well, fuck, you got to watch it then.
Okay.
And it just overall that you just kind of get the sense like there's just a little old family out in the middle of nowhere in the middle of cornfield, and you got aliens just everywhere, and they're about to come in and just ruin your family, which they kind of do in the end, but it's got a happy ending. And if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it. And obviously this guy hasn't seen it, so I'm not going to spoil anything.
I suck.
All right, dipshit, your turn.
God damn it.
I'm just kidding. God.
All right, guys. So my number 10 is Barney's Great Adventure.
You were serious when you said that.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, guys, my number 10 favorite horror movie is Freddy versus Jason.
Oh, I thought that'd be on like higher up.
No.
Oh.
I have other ones that are better.
Oh.
But I like this one because this is I love this movie. It's so fun. It's just, we finally get the two biggest horror icons of all time just clashing against each other. Of course, everything doesn't go the way it's planned because Freddy resurrects Jason to start scaring all the kids on Elm Street. So he starts getting his powers back and start, you know, slowly coming back. Of course, there are some downfalls for the movie, like the big giant worm Freddy smoking a bong, which I didn't like, but I thought that was really dumb. But other than that, I mean, the battle between Freddy and Jason is crazy good. I mean, bloody. People are losing limbs. Other kids are getting killed throughout like the whole film. But Freddy versus Jason for me is just a fun, good time. And it's, like I said, it's got Freddy and Jason, two of the biggest horror icons.
Well, still to this day, my personal opinion, what would have made that a little bit better is if it was Michael versus Jason, because those two are definitely close related. And not just that, but Michael came before both those two.
I would have just liked it more if they would have literally had a definitive winner instead of Jason walking out with Freddy's head and Freddy winking.
I technically think Freddy won that because I think he put Jason in a nightmare.
Yeah, he put Jason in a nightmare, had water come on him, and turned him into a little kid again.
Well, no. I'm talking to the very end. Like, Jason was still alive, or Freddy was still alive, and I think Jason was actually in a nightmare.
Oh.
I think that's what the ending was supposed to imply.
We'll never know. We're probably never going to get a sequel. Everybody keeps demanding.
We're not going to make.
Everybody,
Robert Englund be too old.
Yeah, everybody's demanding a sequel. Everyone's demanding a reboot.
Hmm.
Leave this movie where it is. I don't care what you want to consider it. If you want to consider it a Friday the 13th movie or a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, either way, it's a fun, good time, and I definitely suggest it. So number 10, Freddy versus Jason.
If we made it Ethan versus Austin, I'd kick your ass.
I would love to see that.
As you know, this is the kind of friendship we have.
So you're number 9, bitch. Shh. God damn it.
Okay, for number 9, and I was kind of debating if I should have put this a little higher up because I loved it so much, but there's some classics that I grew up with a kid that I just can't put down on the bottom of the list. So number 9, I'd have to say would be Insidious. Now, Insidious, I think, when did Insidious come out? 2011, and it was right in the middle of the period where directors and producers started putting jump scares into the horror movies. Now, it's a common thing we've seen about 8 years later. You know, we still see that in haunted house horror flicks. Back in the 90s, you know, jump scares were still a thing in early 2000s, but not as frequently as they are now. Insidious really freaked me out because the red-faced demon just scared the shit out of me. Especially the part where he's behind Patrick Wilson.
Oh,
and he does that roar. That, I'll never forget. Alan, if you ever see this, I love you, but I showed Alan that part, and Alan just jumped in his chair when he saw it. And I had to kind of giggle because the first time I saw it, I really jumped at that part. And then the other world, you know, made it more spooky. And of course, you know, Tiptoe Through the Tulips was really one of those old-time 50s or 60s songs that it was very harmless, but James Wan, the producer for Insidious, was able to turn it into a scary thing.
I thought he was the director. Isn't he the director of that movie?
Oh, yeah. He is the director.
Director/producer.
Well, yeah. But either way, I mean, it's his movie.
Mm-hmm.
He really made it to where, and it did have some humor in it, like those two paranormal investigators. I forget their names. You know which ones I'm talking about?
It's been so long since I've seen it. I'd remind you.
Well, and they had, you know, those two guys are comic relief. You guys know who I'm talking about, the two paranormal investigators. And basically, it just, I think what touched me is that it's kind of, the moral is kind of losing a child in a way to like, you know, something greater and being afraid, but also having to sum up the courage to go in this other world to drag him back because the demon lured him in there. So that's basically it was very atmospheric too. And it's, like I said, I'm kind of burnt out on the jump scares, but back then that was probably my favorite one at that time. Because it was just, yeah, like I said, and it was just freaky, and it didn't even have to be gory or anything. It just gave you that sense like you couldn't sleep at night after seeing that film.
Real quick before I give you guys my number 9, since we're talking about creepiness. Everybody who says Hereditary was scary, it was not. We just watched it a couple weeks ago.
Well, it's funny because it is on his list, so
it's not on my list. Don't lie to them. I hated it. The first time I watched it with him, it was horrible. I hated every moment of it.
You hated the ending.
The ending was stupid.
The ending was stupid.
The ending was so dumb.
It was, but you liked the first half of it.
Yeah, the first half. And then it got dumb.
Okay.
Dumb.
So that's good enough.
All right, let's get to number 9.
Therefore, he liked it.
No, I'm going to start ranting about this movie if I don't move on from it. I will admit though, the second time I watched it, I liked it more. So leaving it at that. We're gonna rant about this someday.
I'll cut your
because-
balls.
What the? No, fuck you. I'm done. No. All right, guys. Now my number 9 is going to be the first Scream movie. Now, I guess I don't know. Ethan likes maybe the paranormal-ish kind of horror movies for the most part.
No, I like the slashers. It's just for me, Ghostface wasn't that good.
Well, that's why I like the first one the best because
Mhm.
if you really think about it, this is actually a movie where I can actually see this happening in real life. That's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the opening part of the movie, something they've never done in another horror movie ever. I mean, getting a call, killing this girl's, I guess just a girl, killing her boyfriend, just torturing her. And then, of course, it all ties together with the main character and her mother and everything, sleeping with all these guys, basically costing her boyfriend's parents' marriage and all that. And I mean, you might not like Ghostface. I think he's kind of cool, like, because the way these movies are, you don't know who it is. It could be anybody. And I like that mystery because you're like, oh, this guy's creepy. It could be him. Or, oh, this girl's kind of acting strange. It could be her.
Didn't he turn out to be the boyfriend?
It was the boyfriend in the first one. The second one, it ended up being the boyfriend's mother from the first movie.
Wait, wasn't there 2 Ghostface in the first one?
Yeah, it was the boyfriend and then his friend.
Oh.
And then the second movie, it was one of her friends from school and Billy's mother. The third one was her long lost half brother, and then the fourth one was her cousin. And the fourth one was garbage. I hated it, every moment of it.
Well, and then when they put it in the Scary Movie films, they actually made it. See, that's probably why I have a hard time taking it seriously, because Scary Movie.
Yeah, scary movie did kind of
the shit out of it.
Oh,
And that's why
yeah.
I can't take it seriously anymore.
But I like the characters. I do agree. I've watched a couple of reviewers. I watch a guy named Cody Leach, and he says that she's probably one of the best final girls of all time. I do agree with that because she's one of the few who actually like constantly fights back, and she even pulls a little bit of like a Ghostface thing, like calling them with like.
Whereas most horror movie, the final girls are kind of just, oh my god, why is this happening?
Yeah, they're screaming, and then it takes them forever, and then the last 10 minutes, they're finally like, okay, I'm gonna beat this guy. We're gonna get this done with.
Yep.
Where she does it through all 4 movies, ends up winning, ends up killing them. So that is why Scream is my number 9.
Okay.
You're not wearing a watch. Don't try to look at the time.
No, I'm trying to correct my wrist.
Oh.
Sorry. Number 8, A Haunting in Connecticut.
Ooh.
That one, I gotta say, no, I think that one came out, if I recall, it did come out in 2009. So it came out 2 years before Insidious did. However, what I like about Haunting in Connecticut is that a lot of people say that the events that happened in it exactly happened in real life, and that's not necessarily true. There was something similar to that, but everything you see in the film was inspired. People always, they don't know the difference between inspired and based.
Yeah.
When you base a movie off of a real life event, it means that whatever was in the movie actually happened in real life. And it was the same people, everything, you know. When it's inspired, kind of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's inspired by Ed Gein.
Yep.
Ed Gein wasn't really a Leatherface. He dug up graves and made, you know, skin clothing. But there was no Hewitt family. There was no Sawyer family from the original films. There was no Leatherface. There was no Chainsaw. And people always say that, no, that actually happened. No, because it was inspired.
See, I thought that for the longest time.
Well, I did too. A lot of people did.
When I first watched Texas Chainsaw, my cousin had like the must have been like a deluxe set, and it had like pictures and stuff in it. I thought they were real. Like I seriously thought like everything was happening that was real.
Yeah.
Even the ending with the little video.
Now, A Haunting in Connecticut, believe it or not, is based off of a. It wasn't all based. Now, of course, it centers around a boy that's got skin cancer, and he starts experiencing things in his home, you know, paranormal events. But I think what it was really based off of was A Haunting in Georgia, about a little girl that had psychic abilities and was able to talk to ghosts, good and bad. And then they took that and they said, well, why don't we make it? And I don't know why Connecticut came into mind. I never did the research for that. But they set it in Connecticut, and they made the boy, because this was a little girl that was, like probably like only 3 probably, and the kid in Connecticut is like a teenager, so he has skin cancer, and he starts experiencing these paranormal events. The later part of the movie kind of got dumb, especially when the house set on fire, and spoiler alert, he started finding bodies in the walls.
Yeah.
That part, I was kind of like, okay, this is getting dumb, because I'm more of the psychological, you see things out of the corner of your eye kind of guy.
Like Hereditary, like the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So see, that part was scary.
I can see you're being a smartass right now.
No, I'm being serious for that one.
Okay.
I'm being serious for that one.
You're being a smartass. I'm like,
no, because there's a scene in there where the mom turns off the light, looks over at her desk.
Oh,
and her mother just died.
Yeah.
That's the whole part of the movie.
Yeah.
But that was actually creepy. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
but stuff like that. But then when they kind of bring in the physical, I don't know. The sad thing about paranormal movies is that they all get dumb near the end. They all do. They all have a stupid ending, and I don't even remember the ending to Hunting in Connecticut. I think the kid got over his skin cancer, and then they moved into a different house, and I think the ghosts that were haunting him were like laid to rest.
yeah, I have the movie. It's been a long time since
Yeah.
I've seen it.
I mean, the kid that was in it, the ghost boy that was in it, he was like he got burned in real life, and he
Yep.
came to the kid that was living, as like a charred, because he was he was with that crazy doctor who was peeling people's eyelids off.
Yep.
And I thought that was so fucked up too, because he wanted them to like keep their eyes open when they died, so they could see. It was their way of seeing the afterworld or something like that. So very, very creative on that part. And I'll always watch a horror movie, whether it's a slasher or a thriller or a ghost horror movie, if it's a paranormal, if it's based or inspired, because that stuff does intrigue me, like how that played out in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it drives me nuts when people get it inspired and based mixed up. Inspired does not mean that the events that happened in the movie actually happened. They're just taken from what happened from a different scenario and made it their own.
Mm-hmm.
Based means when it's based, it means all the characters and everything that happened in it were real. So, okay, your turn.
Oh, my turn already? Okay, guys, for my number 8 is going to be It Chapter 1. That is the remake from just, I guess, almost 2 years ago now. It came out September of 2017. Now, we went to this the night before we watched the original It, which I don't think it's scary at all. This one, when we went to it, actually creeped me out. Like, this movie, you actually get to see Georgie get his arm ripped off. The other one, all you see is Pennywise just grab the arm and just do the weird little. This movie, you actually get to see him get his arm ripped off, and he's trying to just crawl away, and all you just see is just this long arm, and he just grabs him, yanks him down.
That actually didn't happen in the novel.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't really remember what happened. It's been so long since
yeah.
I've read the book.
Pennywise didn't actually drag his body down the sewer. It bit it off, and then like a guy in the neighborhood saw him bleeding out.
Yep. And then, and of course, if you guys have seen the original, you guys know how just cheesy it is. But this whole movie is just all about the kids, unlike the original It from the TV show.
Kind of like The Stand, Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, yeah.
Not The Stand.
No.
I guess in a way, if you look at it from that perspective, yeah.
The Stand is too long. I've tried watching
is.
it. I can't do it. But yeah, basically, this movie showed you all sorts of things you didn't really get to see in the original It. And I like Pennywise. It's really a tie because Tim Curry's Pennywise is just so iconic, and he's just creepy in his own way. But like Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise is just creepy all around. Like, he's got the creepy smile. I don't know how he does it with his cheeks.
He can do it without the makeup too.
I've seen him do that on the Conan O'Brien show.
Yeah, it's like
it's creepy there too. I hate it. But to me, it gave me the chills the whole time I watched it. Like, I don't really get scared much in horror movies. There's also another one on this list that I genuinely get terrified when I watch it every time. Speaking of jump scares, my cats are trying to get into the office. I'm sorry.
Ghosts.
That was priceless. I loved that. But overall, to me, this one is definitely way better than the first. And you guys know on my most anticipated movies for 2019 that it was number 5, I believe. We are going to go see it. I hope we can review it. And also, we just went and saw Us 2 the other night. We're going to do a video about that soon. Maybe see it again.
Yeah, but that's a different story for now.
Yeah. But, yeah, to me, this one is just way creepier than the original TV show. If you guys haven't seen it and you like to get scared, I would watch it. If you don't like clowns, probably don't watch it.
Well, and here's the thing too. Stephen King actually approved this version. He actually told the director, it's like, because Stephen King kind of has disliked how people take his novels, like how
they turn them into movies.
Yeah, he does, because there's a lot of people there's a lot of things they leave out of the novels, or that they leave from the
from the novels and put in
exactly. And what a lot of people, the biggest thing that Stephen King liked from the remake is how Pennywise looks in the remake. That's how he looked in the book.
Yep.
And that's how people got so upset about Pennywise's look, because they're like, it doesn't even look like him. But it was Tim Curry's version that was actually wrong. That didn't look. They took that to a different level. But how Bill Skarsgård's is actually how Pennywise looks in the novel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read the novel, you'd understand you'd understand that more. But if you've only seen the original, like 1990, then you're probably going to be pissed of his rework. But if you read the novel, then you'll realize, oh, okay, that's how he looked in the book.
I do suggest reading it. It is, I will admit, it is a very long book. It's 1,130 pages long.
It's definitely a book, though. It's long, and I usually kind of get burnt out, but it's definitely a book where I can kind of keep going, because I don't know. That's the only long novel that keeps my interest.
Like I said, guys, read the book. Like Ethan said, read the book. The 1990 show, personally, to me, you can skip, because when you watch this, chapter 1, and you watch that,
well,
it's like comparing Barney to like Jurassic Park, in my honest opinion.
Barney's way scarier.
I do agree. So, guys, chapter 1 is my number 8.
I love how you had to look.
I already forgot. I forgot what number we were on. So
okay, so number 7 for me is The Others.
That's with Nicole Kidman?
Yeah.
That is a good movie.
That is a good movie. So in case you guys don't know what it's about, now this movie is already 17 years old. It came out in 2002. And I remember my parents actually rented the movie. My mom was like, and even then, when I was 10 years old, my mom knew that I was into ghosts and all that. So we rented it, and mom's like, watch this movie because it looks really good. We watched it, and I gotta say, I was impressed. Especially when you're watching it from a 10-year-old perspective. It actually that makes it a lot scarier. Now, watching it from an adult, you probably still get creeped out, but as a kid, you're kind of like underneath the blanket, watching this. And the thing that, another spoiler alert, so turn it off if you don't want to hear this. The thing that really made my jaw drop was when it was revealed that Nicole Kidman and her kids and the servants were actually the ones that were the ghosts. and the people that they thought were the ghosts were actually the living residents actually living there. And they actually hire a psychic who is blind. It's this creepy old lady. And one scene, she actually takes on her daughter's face and is trying to communicate to the spirits. But her daughter, Nicole Kidman's daughter, is wearing like a wedding dress. You remember this part? And when Nicole Kidman walks in the room and she notices that her daughter's hand is all old and withery, and then she goes in front and you can barely see it through the veil of the dress, but it's the old woman's face. And I'll show you that scene when we're done with this.
It's been so long. I will admit too, though, Victoria told me about this movie. I didn't have any interest in it, but
The Others?
Yeah, this is, I don't know if it's her favorite, but I know it's one of her actual favorite horror movies we've watched together.
Mm-hmm.
And like Ethan said, I mean, the twist ending, that's the one big thing I love about horror movies is the twists that they can do in these. It's crazy.
Now, and it's weird too, because it seems like plot twists are becoming more of a thing these days. They're not as unique as they were back then, I mean, I can go to a horror movie now, and if the others came out today instead of 17 years ago, I would definitely say that, oh, there's going to be a twist at the end where, you know, the Nicole Kidman and her kids are actually the ghosts, and the ghosts are actually the real life humans.
I'd be more skeptical to go see it if it came out nowadays.
You would?
Like most horror movies. Most horror movies now are jump scares.
But that one really wasn't too much of a jump scare.
Well, yeah, that's true, but it's just horror movies in general. Like most of them on here, they're not jump scarish. They're actually like, oh my God. Like,
and I forget when the others takes place. I think it's in the it takes place in like the 1880s or early 1900s.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah. I can't remember either.
But yeah, a very good movie, and honestly, watching it now, it still gives me the creeps. And you know, I love Nicole Kidman. She's a great actress, still is.
She kicks ass in Aquaman.
Yeah, she does. Oh yeah, she was in that, wasn't she?
Yeah, she plays Aquaman's dad or Aquaman's dad. Wow, Aquaman's mom.
Well,
sorry,
you know,
Nicole.
without today, you know,
that's true.
Politically correct with the gender thing.
PC. We gotta be PC, guys. Sorry.
So yeah, that's number 7 on my list.
All right, number 7 on my list is going to be Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Final chapter was
that's the one with
Jason Goes to Hell?
No, this is God, who the hell is in it? Just Drew Blank.
Huh?
Drew Blank.
Is it
Corey Feldman? That guy. Corey Feldman's a kid, and he like chops Jason to death at the end of the movie.
The fourth one.
The fourth one.
Okay, I thought you meant Jason Goes to Hell because that's the final Friday.
Yeah, that's another thing. When they say it's the final Friday, the final nightmare, the final Halloween. No, it's not. Don't lie to us. But the reason I like this one, I do like I just told Ethan, like I just kind of said to you guys, I like the concept of a kid actually being the one to take Jason down. He goes upstairs, he shaves his head, grabs a machete, and he basically tries to act like he's Jason because Jason does the little head tilt and looks at him. But I like this because I like all the characters. This is probably one of my favorite Jasons. To me, I don't like the whole undead, supernatural-ish Jason.
You hate that one too?
No, I like this one the most. But
I know, but you hate the undead Jason.
I'm not big on him. Freddy versus Jason, I will give that one a pass because, like I said, it's just a fun movie.
You like human Jason more than zombie Jason, basically.
Yeah, I like... My thing when I watch horror movies, I like the more humanish, like serial killers. That's why I like Ghostface a lot more. That's why I like
Michael.
That's why Michael Myers is my all-time favorite serial killer of all time. Of course, till you start getting to the Curse of Thorn stuff, then it's like
I pretend that doesn't exist.
My God, let's stop this, please.
I just think that the first and second one exist nowadays.
Yeah,
but anyway,
but yeah, Friday the 13th, the final chapter. To me, it's got the more likable characters. There's not really anybody in here I don't like. Crispin Glover is in this, the dad from the Back to the Future show movies. Oh my God,
he's fucking crazy now.
Yeah. But basically, there's a scene where him and his buddy, they're trying to get with these twins, and they end up not liking the twin that they're both trying to get with doesn't like them, so they like swap. And there's a scene.
The twins did fall for him.
It was the other way around. The original twin who was with Crispin Glover ended up not liking him.
Yeah.
She liked Bud or whatever his name was. And there's a scene in there I laugh at every time, but it's just Crispin Glover. He like dances with one of the twins, but he doesn't do like a normal dance like you would do. He actually does more like he does these little spasm things, and I laugh every time, and it gets me.
I'd have to see that again because I don't remember that scene.
Oh God, it's hilarious. I'll have to show you when we're done. But it's also got some pretty good and unique kills. Can't remember her name, but I like the final girl in this one more because she kind of shows you some more terror, unlike everybody else. They're just like, her, like, you can believe she's actually like in mortal danger. So that is why Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which ended up not being, is my number 7.
All right. Now my number 6 would have to be Stephen King's It, the original. Now, I did love the remake, but here's the reason I put the original instead of the remake. Because when you watch this, now once again, going back to childhood, when you watch this as a kid, I remember when I watched it the first time, the scene that I first started watching was the part where Pennywise is in the library, you know, making fun of Richie. And so I thought, okay, well, this is a movie on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it's about a clown, and no one can see him, but it looks like it's funny. But when I got into the rest of the film, and when I went back and watched from the very beginning, then I thought, oh my God, this is terrifying. And the reason I had to put the original, for as cheesy and goofy as it probably was compared to the remake, that's kind of what triggered people's... Pennywise is really, if you think about it, what triggered people's fear in the clowns.
Yep.
It really is. Unless you count John Wayne Gacy. But, you know, I mean, that's here nor there. But, but the original really kind of freaked me out the more I got into seeing it. And I think the part that freaked me out the most is where Beth went back to her childhood home and witnessed the old lady there, and then the old lady turned into her dad. And then,
oh yeah, and she's like super old, dead.
Yeah, and then she runs out of the house, and it's Pennywise, and he's like beep beep. And then when he goes back in the house, she turns around because a truck is almost about to run her over. She turns around, and you hear Pennywise's laughter. And this is what got me, was the whole house was actually boarded up in reality.
Yep.
It wasn't really there. And I like Pennywise because first of all, you don't know its actual form. It's the deadlights, but it's actually what's inside the deadlights. There's a form inside the deadlights that is its true form. But the closest form, the closest physical form we can comprehend as humans is the spider form. And even though the spider form was cheesy, when you look at that as a little kid, it's scary.
Yeah, obviously.
You know? And so, and being a big Stephen King fan, I loved it. And Tim Curry, even though Bill Skarsgård was good, Tim Curry is more iconic, and he was a little more like, Tim Curry knew how to be the happy kitty go clown and also the creepy guy at the same time. Whereas Bill Skarsgård was strictly just the scary clown. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I kind of like that mix with Tim Curry's Pennywise, even though, you know, that's not actually what he looks like in the novel, because they did, you know, with the yellow jumpsuit and the red hair instead of the orange, you know, mm-hmm. they totally took a different design for his character. But it really was, you know, to me, I mean, a damn good movie. I mean, it wasn't gory and it wasn't really graphic, but I think it's just because of how well Tim Curry portrayed the character that I really liked. There's
not even really a graphic scene in there.
No.
The only really graphic scene, I guess you could say, was when is it Belch? He gets drugged through they're down in the sewers.
Yeah.
He gets drugged through that tunnel pipe. Or that pipe, yeah.
Or I guess when Eddie dies.
Oh, yeah, too. Yeah, I guess there's that too.
Or when Stan cuts his wrists. I guess that was kind of considered it. But you don't really show like it killing anybody, and it's usually either off screen or you see the aftermath of it, you know.
See, like I said, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I like the creepier. I like the creepier Pennywise.
And I love the remake, but I don't know. I got to give it to the original.
That is fair enough. That was number 6, right? I'm losing track already.
It's your Alzheimer's. Number 5.
I'm doing bad. All right, guys. So my number 6 is kind of more of a combination. It's more of like a thriller, but it is also considered a horror movie. But my number 6 is Don't Breathe.
Oh, yeah.
Life lesson of this movie, guys. Don't piss off a blind person because you don't know what they're going to do to you. But no, this is a really unique movie to me. As weird as this sounds, there are 3 movies. There's like the See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Speak No Evil. To me, this is like the beginning of it. Like, you got Don't Breathe, which is the See No Evil, obviously, because the guy's blind. He's beefy too, but we'll get into that here in a second. Then you have Hush, which is the Hear No Evil. I don't know if you've seen Hush. Have you seen Hush before? Hi, Two-Tone. Yeah, we got another little co-host down here.
Come here. Get down.
And then, of course, we've got a movie that came out last year, A Quiet Place, which, of course, is Speak No Evil.
I've seen that. I don't think I've seen Hush.
Hush?
You know, is it about that girl that's kind of terrorized by that one guy?
He's wearing like a white mask.
Okay, yeah, I have seen that. Yep, yep.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I have seen that. Never mind.
It's weird. I consider it part of a trilogy because it's just kind of like, okay. Well,
Was it from the same director?
I don't think so, no.
Oh.
But I like this one because it's like we just kind of said, it's not gory either. Kind of like Stephen King's It that
And
Ethan
it's not
likes.
really a horror. It's kind of
That's why I said it's more like a thriller,
Yeah.
but they consider it a horror. But I put it on there because I still say it's actually it is scary because like there's a scene where it's just pitch black downstairs and you see like the blind guy. All you see is them and it's like in white. And then you zoom in on the girl and all you see are her eyes and they're just dilated and just black. And they're like trying to run around, trying to find each other. The blind guy is sitting there trying to kill them. Basically, the premise is these three people, they try to break in because they hear this guy is just loaded with money. Of course, obviously, things don't end up going the way they should. The boyfriend gets shot. I think the friend gets killed too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
but not until very later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Two-Tone, come on.
There's like a part where it looks like he gets killed, but he doesn't.
Sorry, dog.
Yeah, he's a little attention whore. I'm sorry. But anyway, that probably looked really bad on your screen.
So he's doing this actually.
So, but yeah, it's a really good. It's by the guys who made The Evil Dead and like the updated Evil Dead, and that's another crazy movie.
Mhm.
Holy crap!
What is the actor's name who plays the blind man?
Oh,
He played the bad guy in Avalar, like he was the colonel.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. I see him and all I see is Master Roshi. Like if they made a live action Dragon Ball
He
movie
would
that
be
was
it.
good, that's Master Roshi.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree because he's ripped.
Yeah.
And honestly, you feel bad for the old guy at first because he's just protecting his home.
See,
He
that's
really
the
is.
thing.
But then later on, then you realize he's fucked up because of
Downstairs, spoiler alert, like we keep telling you guys, downstairs, like a long time ago, it was
his daughter that died.
Yeah, his daughter got killed.
And the woman who ran her over, like she died his daughter was run over, and the woman who ran her over is now captured in her basement.
She's downstairs in the basement. The main girl frees her, but she ends up getting shot, so she ends up getting killed anyway.
Mhm.
And then, oh my god, this is a part I will never be able to unsee. The blind guy ties up our main girl. I can't remember her name either. He takes a knife, he holds her up, and basically he's got just these vials of his
Semen.
Yeah, you guys kind of see where I'm going with this. And he takes some scissors and he slits it up there, and he's about to stick her with it. She gets free, and oh god, she takes the baster, shoves it down his throat. Oh my god.
I think I was more just disturbed that he had a bunch of turkey basters full of his cum.
Yeah, that's weird, but I don't know. To me, I consider it more like a horror movie, but like I said, life lesson: don't piss off a blind person. If you do, you're gonna get semen in your butt
Or down your throat.
or down your throat.
So
Yeah, number.
that should be like a yearbook saying, "Don't piss off a blind guy, or you're gonna get semen in your butt."
So don't breathe is my number 6.
Okay, now on to
Now we're in the top 5.
yeah. Now on to number 5, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That's almost as bad as Barney's Great Adventure.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man.
No, for number 5, Halloween, the original 1978.
That's so low on your list.
Well,
What?
You'll see.
Oh my god, I'm in shock.
So he's probably got that on his list too. More than likely, but not saying anything. It's number 1.
Sorry, what now?
Anyway, so I guess for everyone's seen the original Halloween, it's pretty self-explanatory of why it's so fucking good. The movie, after it came out in 1978, scared about 25 million people. How many people do we have here in the U.S.? That's like 3/4 of the people living here.
Yeah, at least.
At least.
Actually, it's probably a lot less nowadays, but yeah, anyway.
Well, yeah. And I remember watching this on YouTube. I don't know if you saw this, but it was the original showing in 1978. And they actually it was near the ending, and they got people's like recording of what's that?
350 million roughly. You just got told, son.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mic drop. Anyway.
Okay. Well, 350 million. Yeah. Are we talking the Halloween or the
Halloween? Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought he meant the population here in the U.S.
Maybe I don't know.
Okay, so anyway, I remember watching the original when it was originally showed in theaters, and they actually got the audio from the people in the theaters, and everyone was freaking out, especially the part where near the end where Michael, gets back up after Laurie stabbed him in the closet, and then he starts strangling her. I think the thing that scared me the most was similar to like Scream, is that you get this guy, just wearing a truck driver suit, wearing a William Shatner white Halloween mask, and going around stalking this girl, and you don't even know what his motive is, but you know that he broke out of the insane asylum. You also know that he killed his older sister in a clown costume in 1963 when he was about 6. And I think it's just more of you don't know the motive. And it's also, the scary thing is you don't know, like he was stabbed multiple times, he was shot, he fell off a balcony, and yet that didn't kill him. And then you didn't know why Michael couldn't die, except for the only other solution there is that he's pure evil, and you can't kill evil. And by addressing it as the boogeyman, that I mean that was a true definition of the boogeyman. And it's weird because when you think of the boogeyman, you think of him as this big slime monster when it could just be just a normal looking human. And the best part, the other thing that made it more realistic is when Laurie rips his mask off and you see that he's got nothing wrong with his face. He's just a normal looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made it more realistic, is that you get this realistic normal looking 21-year-old 6-foot man going after this one girl, and you don't know what the motive is. You think he's just a plain psychopath, with some sexual desires or some obsession over this girl. Mm-hmm. And of course, as the franchise goes on, it explains more and more of why, Michael's motives and why he dies. But I like to think that that's non-canon sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely now with Halloween 2018 that just came out last year, it keeps that question. I mean, obviously everybody knows now from all the other movies that Laurie and Michael are brother, sister.
Yeah.
But they don't. This new Halloween that just came out, that's all ignored. So basically, Michael just breaks out. He just starts killing again. Of course, obviously, he just sees Laurie. There's just no motive. It's just, I'm going to kill just to kill.
Yeah.
And I definitely like what he said about
he just picks a random girl when he comes back into Haddonfield. Like, I think I'm just going to kill this bitch.
Yeah.
And try to, get through her friends first.
Yep. That it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. You should say something, so I'm just staring at me like a weirdo. Stop it. All right, guys. So my number 5 is going to be Dawn of the Dead from 2003. Now, I like this. The only thing I will admit I don't like about this is the actual zombies. I'm used to zombies just walking, not doing the running thing. But this movie, I love the beginning. The beginning's probably my favorite out of like any other horror movie with zombies, I guess, because like Land of the Dead, I don't like Land of the Dead. But Dawn of the Dead, it's also got some semi-famous characters in it, like the guy who plays Marcellus Wallace from Pulp Fiction. I can't remember his name. I don't know if you remember it or not. I know
Samuel Jackson.
It's not Sam Jackson.
Or no, not him.
I can't remember because I know
John Travolta.
No, he's black. This guy's black.
Phil Lamar.
Okay, we're done with this. I don't remember who it is. He's in Call of Duty World War II. Yeah, he's in Call of Duty World War II. I can't remember his name at the top of my head, but he plays a cop in this movie, and he does a damn good job. And of course, there's one scene where there's a pregnant, I believe she's Spanish lady. She gives birth, like she ends up dying, but she gives birth to this zombie baby, and it's nothing you've ever seen before. And of course, the dad, he's all delusional and holding the baby, saying he loves her. And this old woman comes in, tries to kill the baby. But I just like this concept too, that it's just pretty much in like the mall, because while they do have plenty of things that can keep them safe, they're also just surrounded in this entire movie. Like,
hence the inspiration for Dead Rising.
and that was a good game.
Yep.
That was a good game. And yeah, definitely I like the isolated kind of incidences too. Just like Don't Breathe and another movie, but that's coming up here pretty soon. But I like the isolated incidences a lot more, because you can't get out, especially now in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Where are you gonna go? And of course, the ending is crazy good when they start building all like their, I don't know what you want to call them, like the big armored buses and stuff, and they get out and they start just going through and mauling everybody, throwing out propane tanks, shooting propane tanks out in the middle.
Propane.
But also, like I said at the beginning, it shows a bunch of like news articles showing all the dead coming back to life, and just how chaotic this situation has just gotten. So Dawn of the Dead is my number 5. I know Ethan's a lot more detailed with his, because he's a horror nut. I like horror too, but
I nut when I watch horror movies, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. Keep going.
I'm just happy to be here.
You need to lay down, dog.
Okay, so number 4, Friday the 13th, Part 3, the one that comes right before the final chapter.
Ooh,
Now the reason,
3D, you mean?
well, 3D. The 3D didn't come out till later, did it? Or no, it did come out the same year, 1982, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I thought they added the 3D way later on.
One of the first 3D movies ever made.
That's right. Okay, so now 3D is because it was one of the first 3D movies. That's why I liked it. But the main reason I liked the Part 3 was because this was the first Friday the 13th movie Jason obtained his hockey mask.
Mm-hmm.
This was also the first time we really kind of, well, I wouldn't say get to know him, but it created his iconic role. And I'm more with Austin, where I kind of like human Jason more than zombie Jason, because to me, zombie is way too OP.
Yeah.
And even as a human, like Jason, like there was the one part where the main girl, I forget her name, but she was also in the second one, wasn't she?
No, it's usually different every movie.
Yeah, but she encountered Jason like in a flashback, remember? Remember in the third one, she's like, I encountered this man, and it showed him kind of chasing after her a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then like
the girl wearing Pamela Voorhees' shirt.
Yeah, she was in the second one, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the part where, like, remember he gets hung in the barn, and then he takes off the mask, and she's like, it's you. Yeah. So, and I don't know. I was originally going to put Part 2 here, but I think I had to put Part 3 because that was the first time that we see Jason with his iconic look with the hockey mask. And it also shows him more human. What I don't like about Zombie Jason is that how he walks, you know, instead of he tries to be the Michael Myers thing. And it works good with Michael Myers because Michael Myers, see with Jason, he's more mentally handicapped and Michael is just pure evil.
Yep.
You know, and his Jason's mental retardation kind of shows in the third movie. Like he's kind of running at random points, and there's the ending scene where he's like upstairs, and then she sees him up there, and she tries to row away in the boat, and then he crashes out the door.
Okay, I was thinking of a different one. Okay, I know.
What were you thinking about?
I must be thinking of the second one still.
Oh no, not the one where he's wearing the bag for a mask.
Yeah, because like you just said, like he like looks through the window when you see her.
Yeah, and then
like freaking out.
Yeah, and then he busts through the door, and you see his face clear as day. I just like it because he has more humanistic qualities, you know, and he's not smart. It seems like when he becomes a zombie, he's a lot more stealthy and smart. And I don't know if I really like that from Jason.
Yeah.
I just kind of liked it how he kind of goes in and just fucks shit up. Does not care, you know, and makes like he actually makes vocal noises too in this one, like you know, and he's kind of more quiet in the later films.
Yeah, that's why I like the first. You know, I'm not really a big fan of the first one
Because it wasn't
honestly.
even Jason.
Well, Dad, and it's just a little too boring for me, in all honesty. But I definitely like 2, 3, and 4 are probably the best.
Yeah.
Oh, and even the remake. I like the remake. I'll even say that.
I have not. I've only seen bits of that.
Maybe we
But
should
Jason,
say
doesn't he
so.
have like long white hair in that one, kind of? Or
He's got some hair, but
Or
it's,
some hair,
it's
yeah.
not old or long. It's
Oops,
like-
sorry, buddy. But yeah, that's my number 3. Just because that was mainly because that was one of the first 3D movies in history, and that was just when he first obtained the hockey mask, and he that's his iconic look now. My favorite part is when the girl drops the wallet in the lake, and she grabs it out, and she sees Jason walking around with the bow and arrow gun.
She thinks it's Shelly.
Yeah, because Shelly's the prankster, and he played a prank on him, like with the hockey mask. And she's like, "What are you doing? Stop that!" And he just shoots a fucking arrow into her eye.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably one of the best kills in the
Yeah.
whole movie. So guys, we're on number 4 now, right?
Yeah.
I guess
Oh.
I'm losing track here. So guys, my number 4, ironically, you and I just talked about this a while ago, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake.
The 2003.
The 2003 remake. See, if you guys notice, I like a couple of remakes. But
Gay.
see, I've only seen the original one time. I don't really remember it. I've seen this. This is the one I've seen multiple times, but once again, another creepy movie. The beginning, too, of this, where the girl just shoots herself while they're in the van.
You're all gonna die.
Yeah, she's freaking out because they find her in the middle of the road. She just pulls out this gun from, I will willingly say it, from her snatch. She pulls it out.
Katie.
And yeah, she looks around, "You're all going to die." And then she puts the gun in her mouth, kills herself. And she's, even being dead, she's still with them for a good half hour, 45 minutes, I'd say, at least. And Arlie Ermy, God rest his soul.
Who was she referring to? He's a bad man. Was she referring to Arlie Ermy or Leatherface?
See, that's another thing I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know if that's who she's talking about, if it's Leatherface or if it's Arlie Ermy's character.
Mhm.
But basically, it all gets explained in the beginning movie, Texas Chainsaw, the beginning. Basically, they kill the sheriff and he just takes over the role of the sheriff. So he's not really the sheriff. But this family is just so messed up. They're basically hiding. I think his name is Thomas Hewitt.
Thomas Hewitt.
yeah,
Tommy.
They changed the name because
In the original, it was Bubba Sawyer.
Yeah, it used to be the Sawyer family
Yep.
in the originals, and then they changed it to the Hewitts
Hewitts.
for whatever reason. But I like this Leatherface the best, and it's got really good kills, but especially the ending. The ending is definitely another iconic ending in a horror movie.
Well, I like this Leatherface too because this one was more scary. This one was more badass and did not give a shit. You come into his house, he's gonna fuck you up. Whereas the original Leatherface was more kind of chicken shit.
Yeah,
You know, like there's some parts where he flipped out when other people come into his house, like, ah! And, you know,
well, that and
it
To me,
wasn't
that-
really intimidating.
yeah, that one's not really scary. Like the Leatherface from this movie, he's got like a butcher's outfit on, and he's just got this old leather face on, ironically.
Is that what his masks are made out of? Shit.
Yeah, I know, right? Never knew that. It's crazy. But I definitely like this because, once again, the creep factor. And it's kind of like one of Ethan's movies, the Signs movie.
Signs.
It's kind of like that. It takes place on the farm pretty much and just all in this little area of Texas.
And it's got Jessica Biel in it.
Yeah, it's got Jessica Biel in it, Arlie Ermy.
Yep.
There's somebody kind of somewhat famous, and I can't ever remember their name.
Who was the stuntman that played Leatherface? It wasn't Tyler Mane, was it?
It was not Tyler Mane.
Oh.
He's way too bulky to be Tyler
Oh.
Mane. But it's also a great take because, like I said before, I seriously thought this stuff happened. And the more and more I watched it, I saw based on or inspired by true events. So I was like, okay.
Don't get those mixed up.
Yes. That always confused me because I actually did research and that's all I ever saw was Ed Gein, Ed Gein. I'm like,
Well,
who
and
the hell
here-
is this?
And here's the thing: the reason people thought, because if you remember the beginning and the end of the remake, they had those cops going down to the basement, and then
Yeah.
remember that's why people thought it was real, because they thought that was actual real footage, and that itself was part of the that was scripted.
Yeah,
The whole thing was scripted. It was part of the movie. It wasn't actual real footage. And I think they did that on purpose to fuck with people, to make it think like, oh, this was real. We'll never tell though.
See, I also
And they didn't come out till years later saying no, it was all scripted.
see. I'm gonna probably get made fun of this. I know you will. You probably won't let it go. But the first time I watched Paranormal Activity, I seriously thought this was real stuff.
No, I did too.
Like I really did.
I did too. Me and Alan saw it. We walked out of the theater just drenched in cold sweat because we thought it was fucking real.
Yeah.
No, I'm not making fun of you.
Okay, good. Because I've
I thought
told
the
a
Blair
few.
Witch Project was real.
Yeah, I've told a few people that, and they look at me and just start laughing. And that's what I always thought about this. And it's always just a go-to if I just want to watch a horror movie, but I'm not really feeling Michael. I'm not really feeling like watching Jason. I'm like, oh, here's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And another movie I just have a real good fun time with. And it's inspired by true events. I mean, those movies are a little bit more up on my list when I watch them. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my number 4. I'm going to reach above you. I've been staring at my water for like the last half hour.
So we're on number 3. Number 3, A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 1984 version. So I gotta say,
Creepiest soundtrack of all time.
creepiest soundtrack of all time, and it was the first. Well, okay, so this is why I like the original, and everyone will agree with me, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Because Freddy was a little bit humorous, but he was a lot more scary and serious in this one. It wasn't until the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, the sixth especially, that they turned him more into a comic relief.
Freddy's Dead.
Yeah,
God, that is a god awful.
that is a god-awful movie. But yet, Robert Englund still played him throughout the ages.
Yep.
And it really was creepy because there were no jump scares. This was the epitome of what a horror movie should be.
A true nightmare.
A true nightmare. Because a lot of people, when this movie came out, now obviously that came out 8 years before I was born, but many people had a hard time going to sleep after this movie came out. Because you die in your nightmare, you die in real life. And that's what scared a lot of people to go to sleep at night. Especially the part with Tina. Tina's scene really scared me because when you see Freddy for the first time, he's got both arms extended like 6 feet out and he's scraping his claws against the wall and then he chases her down the alley. That part scared the shit out of me.
Oh my god, this is God.
Yeah.
Like,
And it stayed creepy throughout the whole scene without any jump scares. The only jump scare you could probably count in that was the beginning where Tina's walking through, the boiler room, and all of a sudden that goat comes out of nowhere. Freddy starts laughing. You know which one I'm talking about?
I just rewatched this
Yep.
like a few weeks ago.
What was the goat supposed to represent? I think it's just because the goat represents innocence, and like kids are innocent, and so it's kind of
Mhm.
throwing that symbolism in there a little bit.
Yep.
That kids are innocent, but yet Freddy's gonna kill them anyways because
You don't give a fuck.
well the parents killed them. So it's like, okay, well I'm gonna kill your kids, in a way that you can't protect them. But Freddy was already what was he? He worked at the Elm Street Elementary School. He was the janitor or the maintenance guy, or was that in the remake?
That was the remake.
No, he worked at the power plant. He worked at the power plant in the original series.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Because the remake, he was like
he was the groundskeeper.
Yep.
But he worked in the power plant in the real life, but he was also killing kids in the neighborhood. And they finally, obviously catch him in a shack. They burn him alive, and then he comes back with all these powers. And when Nancy finally describes this guy, her parents are like, "Oh shit, this guy we killed, and he came back." They were even surprised. And then when they drag him out in the real world at the end, that was even creepy because it's like, "Oh shit!" Now it's like he's there,
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it sent the message like you're helpless in your nightmare. That's what scared people the most. That's what scared me the most, is that you're helpless in a nightmare. You can't fight back no matter what, because the monster always has the upper ground in it. That's what scared me the most in that film. And just that's where Freddy really was scary. Like all the other ones, it was then it started kind of becoming like the Leprechaun series, where it just started becoming more goofy and more of a low class B movie.
See, like
franchise.
A lot of people like the Dream Warriors,
or a low budget, not low class.
Yeah, everybody likes like the Dream Warriors, Dream whatever,
the
Dream Childs.
The Dream Masters.
Yeah, I don't like those. Like I agree with Ethan. I definitely say this one. I'll just say right now, it's not on my list, but The Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, is a damn good movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were just saying, like to me, besides Michael Myers, Freddy definitely has the creepiest like theme of all time.
Well, especially when he's making his claw glove in the opening.
Yeah, in the beginning part. That's what I like too about the beginning of Freddy versus Jason. They kind of show him like putting together a glove again and kind of doing his thing once in a while.
Mm-hmm. So that's all I have.
Oh, so now we're done this time. Okay.
This time, fuck you.
Hey, God. Why? God. Dick. All right, guys. So my number 3, and like I brought up earlier, this is the movie that genuinely, every time I watch it, especially if I watch it at night, I get terrified. Ethan will even be able to vouch because he'll probably remember. My number 3 is 2008's The Strangers. This one's hard to talk about because this is another one that
he gets teary-eyed when he has to talk about it.
Dude. Like it's weird.
Oh.
I like this movie, but I hate it so much because I know every time I watch it, I know I'm gonna get paranoid. I went to Ethan's house late one night and we watched the movie, and it was like 2:00 in the morning. And I just like looked outside and I looked in my car and I did not want to leave. Like I genuinely wanted to stay because you never know what's out there. Because this is another inspired or based on a event, or
I think it was inspired by the Manson family massacre back in '69. But anyway,
yeah. But you got the 3 main killers in here. I don't really know what to call them, but there's
Dollface,
Sackhead.
No, not Sackhead.
Yeah, that's what his name is.
Is it? I
Yes.
thought it was just the Masked Man.
No, it's Sackman. That's seriously his name.
I can't take it serious.
And then
who's
the girl? I don't.
the blonde girl?
The one who knocks on the door and asks, "Is Tamara home?" I don't remember her name or what they call her, but we'll just call her Dollface too. We'll just say
Sackman.
Sack. I'm serious. That's what his name is, or Sackhead, or some shit like that.
I thought it was just the Masked Man.
No.
Anyway,
but yeah, this is inspired by the Manson murders. This to me is more of a psychological horror because like they're going around the house, they're just knocking on the doors, they're writing hello on all the windows. There's one part where like Liv Tyler, she's playing a record and it just gets stuck on this just one part and it just repeats over and over and over and over again for like at least 2 minutes. But it's also just how quiet they are when they're walking around the house. Like she's like staring off, trying to look at the door, and all of a sudden, Sackhead.
the Masked Man.
So she had, whatever. It's Sackhead. So piss off. But like Sackhead just like comes out from the dark and is just staring at her and just like following her around. Ugh. This movie makes me just paranoid. And even right now, just thinking about it, I'm getting paranoid and I don't like it. It makes, yeah, I don't like it. I like it though. I like it, but I don't like it. But another movie that just seems really realistic, another isolated incident kind of movie. I would have put the second one on here, but Ethan also knows my gripe about the second movie.
Yeah, the second one was kind of trash. Well, the problem is that they waited so many years to make it.
They waited 10 years to make it.
They waited 10 years to make a sequel.
It was still really good. I really enjoyed it. Ethan, I think, enjoyed it too, but there was a part in the movie where they turned Sackhead in freaking mortal. How the hell do you crash into a car, the fucking truck explodes, and you're still driving the goddamn thing?
That can happen in real life.
Bullshit, it can. Sorry.
Do you want to try it?
No. Sorry.
You should have heard him in the theater too. He would literally like, what the fuck ever?
Yeah, I was sitting there saying that the whole time. Like, bullshit. That does not happen. So, yeah, guys, The Strangers from 2008 is my number 3.
All right, we're getting close here.
Fuck this movie.
On to number 2, The Thing, 1982, with Kurt Russell. Now, that's another John Carpenter film that I absolutely love because they made it.
Sorry, I got the shivers.
They made this film so psychologically. They drove people paranoid because you get this alien species that can mimic human or Earth life, or Earth life forms to a T, and the thing, which is an alien species, it gets a hold of the crew members at this this base in Antarctica, this U.S. base in Antarctica. And it first spreads from a dog that came from a Norwegian base several 1,000 miles out. And they made a movie of that too, in case you're not aware. The Thing,
Hence
2011. Huh?
Hence the prequel.
Yeah, the
Another
prequel.
good movie.
Yep.
I just watched both of these for the first time like last month or two.
Yeah. And this guy, when he watched it, the transformation, he just... The part that really freaked me out was the dog part, the kennel part, where Clark, the dog handler, he puts the dog in the kennel, the one that came from the Norway base, which is actually The Thing, and it starts growing like spider legs and tentacles, and it starts one by one assimilating the dogs and trying to mimic them. Well, I think, and forget one part of the film, one of the dogs gets a hold of one of the crew members, or not the dog thing. After they kill it, it still is able to assimilate one of the crew members, Bennings, who's the weatherman, and it also assimilated another crew member that, an unknown one. We just see the shadow, but it assimilated another crew member on there. And the men throughout the movie have so much distrust with each other because at one point they try to do a blood test to see whose blood is clean and whose is actually the Thing. Well, when they go in the fridge in the lab, all the blood has been spilled out and drained, so they can't perform the blood test. So one of the crewmen did it, who's actually a Thing, and so there's just this constant distrust, between the crewmen. You don't know who's the Thing and who isn't. That's the part I liked. And Kurt Russell's character just kicks ass in that film. He really does. Like he's at the end where Dr. Blair comes out of the floor and he's this really big assimilated thing. Right. Oh, two-tone. Right before blowing the thing up in the base.
All right. You getting choked up on the movie or what?
No, I ate ravioli early on today.
Oh, gross.
He throws a stick of dynamite and he's like, yeah, fuck you too, and blows the whole monster in the base up because they planted dynamite throughout the whole base. So that stick of dynamite just detonates everything.
What's the part I got freaked out about?
The dog part.
It was the dog part?
It was the dog part,
okay, yeah. I couldn't remember.
But you got freaked out. We won't get off topic, but with the 2011, you got pretty freaked out too, with a lot of parts. But there were far more transformations. The one thing I didn't like about the original Thing is that there was a period where it was just nothing happened. Boom, monster pops out. But it was a good hour before something happened later on in the film.
It's a very slow building movie.
Yeah, it is. It's almost, I think, an hour and a half long. But I think I like just the more that you're stuck. I kind of compare it to Alien a little bit. Except, Alien takes place in space, obviously. But I hate you. But I think I just like that you have all these crewmen that are out in the middle of nowhere on this base in Antarctica. Where are you going?
I got a charger. You keep talking to the people.
And just don't know who's the monster and who isn't. So there's just so much distrust between the crewmen, and it's just a classic in my mind. And a lot of people when this came out hated John Carpenter because so many people were used to the whole friendly alien movies like E.T. at that time, and not the scary aliens. So that's all I really have for that. We're just waiting on Austin to get the charger.
I'm sorry. I'm trying.
Should have charged this before we did this, man.
Hey. Get off my ass.
But it's so beautiful.
I'm sorry. Oh boy.
Yeah. I can just give him my number one if it makes you happy.
No, I want to hear it too. Hang on. Give me a second.
Just hang in there, folks. So, what's your top favorite horror movie? Give us some feedback.
Okay, I'm back.
No, he's coming back.
Kind of. Hopefully. Sorry. I wasn't prepared for this at all. Bye.
Ooh, Austin. Shit.
Why? What are you doing? Stop!
I didn't mean to.
Knocking all my pots
I
over.
didn't mean to do that.
God dang it.
Oh shit. I went like this.
Hey, what's you doing?
I
God. Knocking all my Funkos over. Would you like it if I did that to yours?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. You don't have any.
You did it to my junk rat one, I'd be mad.
Oh, there we go. I'm messing it all up here. Okay, we're really close now.
Anyway, so now it's your turn.
Okay, I'm back. And a half there. Okay. We're on number 2, right? I'm up completely out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So my number 1 and my number 2 actually changed over the last couple days. So my number 2 was Ethan's number.
Oh, look at the number. Oh, okay.
Halloween 1978.
I thought that'd be your number 1.
You know, it was until I really started thinking more, and now my number 1 is my number 1.
Okay.
And honestly,
I'm gonna grab my monster.
okay, basically Ethan already covered everything too with this movie. I mean, the pure evil of Michael. I mean, just the story too. I mean, I like this a lot better than the it's his brother sister relationship, whatever. But I mean, Ethan pretty much already covered everything for the movie, so I actually honestly don't have anything else to add. So Halloween 1978 is my number 2.
Well, what was your? So basically, what I said that was what you liked.
Yeah, you basically covered everything.
Oh,
So you kind of made it a little easier for me.
fair enough. Okay,
Thanks for messing up my Funko, dick.
so number 1, The Shining,
Oh,
1980.
boom! That's my number 1 too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
son
look
of
at
a
that.
bitch.
We can kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Okay, so we can describe this together. So,
Amaze balls.
okay, so the reason I like this film, and I'm talking Stanley Kubrick's, not the 1997 remake.
There's a lot of controversy around this too, and I'm
There
sure we'll
is.
cover some of it.
But this was my first ever horror movie I saw as a little kid. So you can imagine with all that blood and gore how fucked up I was. And I'm thinking at the same time, yeah, my balls dropped that day. How much it scared the crap out of me. But then again, I was thinking to myself, so this is what horror actually looks like. This is what a horror movie should be.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, to me, my top favorite It still is to this day. Top favorite horror movie of all time. Just because it was the very first horror movie I witnessed, and I'll never forget Mom and Dad walked in on me seeing it, and they're like, "What the hell are you watching?" They turned the TV off.
Yeah. I guess we're paying more attention to me now. There we go. Okay. Yeah, basically, I like The Shining because, like Ethan just said, to me, it's the true definition of a horror movie. And not only that, but everything Stanley Kubrick did, especially to Shelley Duvall. I mean, he in all reality, I'm going to say it, ended her career because there are multiple scenes. There is one scene, and it's the scene where Jack is basically kind of following Wendy up the stairs and she's got the baseball bat. Stanley Kubrick made her do that scene 122 times. So by the time she finally like had the face, the look, everything, just the way she was acting, you could tell she was just physically and mentally exhausted.
I think that she was really crying too. That wasn't acting.
He genuinely like talked down to her and like made her like terrified, made her sad, and all that stuff. And it's just sad too because it's even been stated that after the movie she started like losing her hair and stuff because of the movie. But
She started going insane too.
yeah. Well, once again, stated it before. I'm going to state it one last time. Another isolated incident movie, and obviously the ending is just so iconic. I mean, you got the infamous "Here's Johnny" scene, and of course, you got just the whole backstory of this hotel. I mean, all the past owners have gone insane, killed their families. Because that's genuinely when I started really getting into the movie, is when Jack actually goes into the bar. He puts his face down, he looks up, and he says, "Hey, Lloyd, a little slow tonight, huh?" And then
you think, well, how the hell does he know Lloyd?
Yeah, and then there's a guy behind the counter. "Yes, Mr. Torrance." And especially like the ending I still don't understand, and I think nobody really does.
I do.
Okay, Ethan does. Fine, fuck him, I guess. But I just like it because of just the sheer like terror and the mystery surrounding the story.
Yep.
And yeah, the actual Stephen King version, I don't like it. Stephen King actually genuinely hates Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining.
Well, because Jack Torrance was... See, with Jack Nicholson's portrayal, it's like Jack Torrance was insane from the start, whereas in Stephen King's, Jack Torrance came in as just this completely sane guy, but started going insane after a while.
Basically going through like cabin fever.
And in Stephen King's, an evil spirit possessed him. Whereas there is no evil spirit in this one. Jack Nicholson is just crazy.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Jack Nicholson's performance in this movie is just... There's no words. It's incredible. Like, you genuinely feel like he is just a nutcase in this movie. Like, it's crazy.
3 scenes, well, 4 actually, freaked me out the most, and I'll name them right now. The scene where the elevator comes out, the blood comes out of the elevator.
Which time?
The first time.
The first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess you could say is that the one where Shelley is right there in it?
Yeah. Yeah, she's like downstairs and she sees the ghost and then she turns around.
Oh, see, the part where Danny sees it in a vision scares me because you get this real ominous music and the blood is just coming out. And I think in it, there's actually a body that kind of lands in the blood and the blood's coming out. And it's just such ominous music. And Danny is, you can see his face freaking out. The second scene that freaked me out the most was where Danny is on his tricycle and he witnesses the 2 twin girls. And he sees visions of them mutilated in the hallway with the axe in the middle of the floor.
Yep.
And they're like, "Come play with us forever and ever." And it keeps flashing between their corpses and the ghosts. And that scarred me. The third scene is where Jack goes into the bathroom and starts making out with the naked woman and then realizes that it's actually an old woman he's making out with. And there's a second woman like leaning up in the bathtub.
Yeah, that's actually not what's supposed to happen in the book. It's actually a student of his. He sees him in the bathtub.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, because he talked down to this kid so much, the kid ended up killing himself, and he actually sees him in the bathtub instead. Is how it.
Oh,
is,
I thought
how
it was. I thought it was like a female student.
No, it's
Like he was
it's a male student.
Oh, I thought he was fantasizing about a female student. Like that's where the making out.
No, Stanley Kubrick just added that.
Oh, okay.
So that's not actually what happens in the novel.
And then the fourth scene is where she realizes that the hotel is completely out of control with these ghosts, and the ghosts are awakening all over. And she comes across a short dude in like a bear, a dog costume, giving another guy a blowjob.
It's a wolf costume.
A wolf costume. Yeah, because it's a party, back in the 20s. And they both look at Shelley through the door like, what the fuck? And then she freaks out. That was the one, I don't know, that scared me the most.
See, to me, the scariest thing about the whole movie is the score. Like, the score just, every time I hear it, even just the beginning part, you just hear, like, the piano going,
Well, that's where the blood comes out, and that you get that real...
Yeah, and then you just get the random little, like, dun, dun.
Yep.
Like, oh my God, it's... See, we could go on about this movie, I feel like, but to me, genuinely, it is just, overall, the scariest horror movie ever made, in my opinion.
Oh, people. So the elevator scene where the blood comes out. Oh, sorry. People always make comments on YouTube. They're like, that's weird. Usually the blood gets off at the second floor, and that's because The Simpsons, as you know, did a parody of the Shining.
They call it The Shining.
And the part they're taking a tour of the hotel, and the blood comes out of the elevator. And Mr. Burns is like, that's weird. Usually the blood gets off at the second floor. So people have been making that joke in the actual video. Like, that's funny. Usually the blood gets off at the second floor.
Yeah, I mean, like, even just name his scariest scenes. To me, there's just too many to talk about, because, like I said, I guess for me...
I don't want to go there, Mrs. Torrance!
Yeah, Danny's little buddy, what's his name?
Tony.
Tony. I don't know why I forgot about that. Wow. But me, I guess, I don't know why the scariest scene to me is actually when the black guy actually gets killed. Because, like, it just...
A black guy dying in a movie?
Really?
Or a movie?
Ethan? Really? You really went there? Really? Do we have to talk about Get Out again?
No.
Okay. Okay, because I really don't want to talk about it. But he gets just hit in the chest with the axe, and it just keeps going back and forth to Danny. And Danny's face, he's just the whole time. Like, that for whatever reason, that always gives me the chills. And like I said, the score, just the theme, all the music in this movie is just, it's just scary. So that's why it is my number one. And that's obviously why it's Ethan's number one as well. So guys, that was our top 10 horror movie list. I'm gonna quickly recap mine. 10 is Freddy vs. Jason. 9 is Scream. 8 is It Chapter 1. 7, Friday the 13th Part 4. 6, Don't Breathe. 5, Dawn of the Dead, the remake. Number 4, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake. Number 3, The Strangers. Number 2, Halloween. And number 1, The Shining.
In my top 10, starting from 10, Signs. Number 9, Insidious. Number 8, A Haunting in Connecticut. Number 7, The Others. Number 6, Stephen King's It, the original. Number 5, Halloween, 1978. Number 4, Friday the 13th, Part 3. Number 3, A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. Number 2, The Thing, the original. And then number 1, The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick version.
Guys, let us know down in the comment section below, what is your all-time favorite horror movie? Heck, give us a top 10, give us a top 5. Heck, even if you feel like it, give us a top 20.
Top 20 would be a little hard, but
it would be.
If you do, feel free.
And guys, also, I want you guys to hit that like button if you want me and Ethan to give you our top 10 least favorite or worst horror movies of all time, too. Because I feel like that one will probably be a lot easier. Maybe.
Yeah.
Mine would be pretty easy.
Yeah.
I feel. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Of course, it's always nice to have Ethan back. We're going to be talking some more horror here soon. Like I said, we'll probably review Us at some point. We're going to let the movie soak in a little bit more because there's things we like. There's things we don't like.
Mhm.
Ethan's racist. I'm just kidding, Ethan's
If
not
anyone
racist.
black was watching that,
Don't take any offense.
yeah,
It's-
I got a lot of black friends.
This is all in good fun. So, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. And like always, make sure you hit that like button.
Oh.
Cool. Fuck you, Ethan.
Right.
Anyway, make sure you guys hit that like button, comment, subscribe. See you.